Hey everyone, welcome back to another Reactions with Erin video. In this video, I am going to be looking at the lyrics to all of the songs on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album, and I'm going to be telling you what I took away from them personally. So, let me share my screen with you guys. I don't know if you'll be able to read the words, but at least it's there, so if you guys want to. Okay, so Speak to Me. I've been mad for effing years, absolutely years, been over the edge for yonks, been working me buns off for bands. I've always been mad. I know I've been mad, like most of us. Very hard to explain why you're mad, even if you're not mad. So to me, that's kind of like he's just speaking his mind. Like, it kind of sounds like a rant, like, oh, I've been working so effing hard for so long and I'm not getting anywhere. So I think a lot of us can relate to. I know I felt that way before. I'm sure most of you guys have too. Okay, breathe. Breathe, breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Leave, don't leave me. Look around. Choose your own ground. Long you live and high you fly. Smiles you'll give and tears you'll cry. And all you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be. Run, rabbit, run. Dig that hole. Forget the sun. When at last the work is done, don't sit down. It's time to dig another one. Long you live and high you fly, but only if you ride the tide. Balanced on the biggest wave, race towards an early grave. Wow, that's like poetry almost. Um it's kind of depressing. Don't be afraid. Okay. Long you live and high you fly. Smiles you'll give and tears you'll cry. In a way, it could be depressing, but then the more I'm reading this, it's kind of like it's a very realistic look at life. Like, you'll go through hard times, but there'll be good times too. So, this could just kind of be a realistic look at life. That race towards an early grave line is kind of sad. Okay. On the Run is an instrumental, because that's just the sound of him running. And then you're hearing like different parts of other songs too, I think. Let's look at Time. Again, I have reacted to this song in a separate video, and I have looked at these lyrics before. So I kind of know what this means to me, but let's look at it again. Taking away the moments that make up a dull day, fritter and waste the hours in an offhand way, kicking around on a piece of ground in your hometown, waiting for someone or something to show you the way. Tired of lying in the sunshine, staying home to watch the rain. You are young and life is long, and there is time to kill today. And then one day you find 10 years have got behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun. So it's like, time just kind of goes by when you're a kid. But then I feel like time starts to go quicker once you get like into high school or college, because that's kind of when you're starting to make decisions that will ultimately impact your future. And that's when I feel that, at least for me personally, that's kind of when I felt that life started to go faster. And that line is so true. And then one day you find 10 years have got behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun. No one really tells you when life is going to speed up. I mean, none of us really know. So, yeah. And you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older. shorter of breath and one day closer to death. Every year is getting shorter. Oh my gosh, is that ever true? I feel like every single year it gets shorter. Never seem to find the time. Plans that either come to naught or half a page of scribbled lines. Hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way. The time is gone, the song is over. Thought I'd something more to say. Home, home again. I like to be where I can. I like to be here when I can. When I come home cold and tired, it's good to warm my bones by the fire. Far away across the field, the tolling of the iron bell. So, the iron bell, another signal of time, I think, calls the faithful to their knees to hear softly spoken magic spell. Breathe, reprise. Oh, okay, so it's basically the last verse of time. Great Gig in the Sky. Okay, I also reacted to this song and in a separate video, and I've looked at the lyrics, but let's look at them again. And I am not frightened of dying. Any time will do. I don't mind. Why should I be frightened of dying? There's no reason for it. You've got to go sometime. I never said I was frightened of dying. So that sounds like he's having a conversation with someone. And I think that he really is scared of dying. It's just, he's trying to hide it, which is really sad. I mean, I know the feeling of trying to hide emotions that I don't want others to see. I personally don't like it when others see me cry. But I mean, you guys have seen me cry on this channel, so I'm trying to get better at that, where I'm not so, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but I mean, I don't ever want to be like someone who cries at the drop of a hat, but I want to get to that point that where one day when I do have kids, I can show them that, hey, it is okay to cry. You know, you don't have to hide it. And I think this character is scared of dying and he's trying to hide it. So that's sad. Money. Okay, I really like this song. This one, I mean, all the songs on this album are really good, but I really like Time. I really like Great Gig in the Sky. I really liked Money, and I really liked Us and Them. Those are like my four favorites. Okay. Money, get away. Get a good job with more pay and you're okay. Money, it's a gas. Grab that cash with both hands and make a stash. New car, caviar, 4-star daydream, think I'll buy me a football team. So to me, this song is how it talks about how sometimes when you get a lot of money, it can go to your head. Or you can start spending it frivolously, like in this first verse. Money, get back. I'm all right, Jack. Keep your hands off my stack. Money, it's a hit. Don't give me that do-goody-good bull crap. I'm in the high fidelity first class traveling set, and I think I need a Learjet. So he's getting a little bit selfish, a little bit possessive with his riches. Money, it's a crime. Share it fairly, but don't take a slice of my pie. Money, so they say, is the root of all evil today. But if you ask for a rise, it's no surprise that they're giving none away. Money, so they say, is the root of all evil today. That's from the Bible. Ha ha, I was right. Yes, absolutely in the right. I certainly was in the right. Yeah, I was definitely in the right. That geezer was cruising for a bruising. Why does anyone do anything? Yeah, why does anyone do anything? I don't know. I was really drunk at the time. I was just telling him it was in. He could get in he could get it in number 2. He was asking why it wasn't coming up on the freight 11. After I was yelling and screaming and telling him why it wasn't coming up on freight 11, it came to a heavy blow which sorted the matter out. Okay. Us and them. Us and them, and after all, we're only ordinary men. Me and you, God only knows it's not what we would choose to do. Forward, he cried, from the rear, and the front rank died. And the general sat, and the lines on the map moved from side to side, black and blue, and who knows which is which and who is who. Up and down, and in the end it's only round and round and round. Haven't you heard? It's a battle of words. The poster bearer cried, "Listen, son," said the man with the gun. "There's room for you inside." Well, I mean, they're gonna kill you, so, like, if you don't give them a quick, short, sharp shock, they don't do it again. Dig in, I mean, he got off light, 'cause I could have given him a thrashing, but I only hit him once. It's only the difference between the right and wrong in it. I mean, good manners don't cost nothing, do they, eh? Down and out, it can't be helped, but there's a lot of it about. Without, and who'll deny it's what the fighting's all about? Out of the way, it's a busy day. I've got things on my mind. From want of the price of tea and a slice, the old man died. So, us and them, me and you, black and blue, up and down. It's kind of taking opposites, so to speak. Any color you like that's an instrumental. Brain damage. The lunatic is on the grass, the lunatic is on the grass, remembering the games and the daisy chains and laughs. Got to keep the loonies on the path. The lunatic is in the hall, the lunatics are in my hall. The paper holds their folded faces to the floor, and every day the paper boy brings more. And if the dam breaks open many years too soon, and if there is no room upon the hill, and if your head explodes with dark forebodings too, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. The lunatic is in my head. The lunatic is in my head. You raise the blade, you make the change, you rearrange me till I'm sane. You lock the door and throw away the key. There's someone in my head, but it's not me. And if the cloud bursts thunder in your ear, you shout and no one seems to hear. And if the band you're in starts playing different tunes, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. I can't think of anything to say except I think it's marvelous. Ha ha ha. So, I don't know if I'm right in this or not, and I think with Pink Floyd albums there can be a lot of interpretations, so I don't know if there necessarily is a wrong or a right. But these kind of sound like the thoughts of someone with a mental illness. Like, maybe like a schizophrenic almost is the first thing that comes to mind. There's other mental illnesses too that could make you potentially say things like this. This is ultimately about dying, so at least that's how I've taken this album. And that makes me think of end of life mental illnesses. So the first one of those that comes to mind for me, one that I have had a lot of experience taking care of people with this disease, is Alzheimer's. Again, delusions, hallucinations, really not being in your right mind. Could be that too. Wow. Brain damage. It's a really good title for this song. Because how do I say this? I don't want to offend anyone. Because people can live very, people can, work around their mental illness and, still live normal lives, but mental illnesses are a form of brain damage. It's a crutch. Not, what am I trying to say? It's an obstacle. It's something you have to work around. Hopefully I'm not offending anyone by I'm really trying to, articulate this in a positive way, because people, do go on to live normal lives and, do great things in spite of their mental illness, but it is something they have to work around. So I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to say. And the last song is Eclipse. All that you touch and all that you see, all that you taste, all you feel, and all that you love and all that you hate, all you distrust, all you save, and all that you give and all that you deal, and all that you buy, beg, borrow, and steal, and all you create and all you destroy, and all that you do and all that you say, and all that you eat and everyone you meet, and all that you slight and everyone you fight. And all that is now, and all that is gone, and all that's to come, and everything under the sun is in tune. But the sun is eclipsed by the moon. There is no dark side of the moon. Really, matter of fact, it's all dark. Wow. What a thought to end on. Okay. Let's see how many of these songs have okay, so we had okay, so the first one is Speak to Me. In the pre-Dark Side live performances, this song was usually just a low drumming and a heartbeat. On the album, it contains the heartbeat followed by sounds representing things that can drive you into madness. Spoken bits, a clock ticking, a cash register, coins clicking, synthesizer, then at the end a mad shriek. It was Claire Tory that Pink Floyd used for the closing screams as the song fades to breathe. She is later heard on Great Gig in the Sky. Yeah, I recognized her voice. I thought it was maybe a bit from Great Gig in the Sky, because her singing is almost a scream-like quality on Great Gig in the Sky. This is Pink Floyd's only song that gives all composing credits to drummer Nick Mason, who generally didn't write the songs. He called the composition a color sound montage. At one point, Roger Waters claimed this credit was a gift to Mason, which didn't help band relations. Pink Floyd's road manager, Peter Watts, contributed the crazed laughter on this song. The father of the actress Naomi Watts, Peter died of a heroin overdose in 1976 at the age of 30. Wow. Some of these people die so young. Like, I'm 27. I'm not that far from those ages. Like, Karen Carpenter died at 32. Peter Watts died at 30. Wow. The title doesn't appear in the lyric "Speak to Me," is what the album's engineer Alan Parsons would say when testing a microphone. There are lots of little aural details on the Dark Side of the Moon album that lend it to repeated headphone listening. An example on this track, the heartbeat comes slightly from the right, which stimulates the sound of a person's heart if he were standing directly in front of you. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true. I really liked that one. It had like different sounds. The spoken bits, you hear those all throughout the album. The clock ticking, that's from Time. The cash register and coins, that's from Money. And then the shriek is like from Great Gig in the Sky. So it was like kind of a preview of what's to come almost. So Breathe is next. This song is about an older man speaking to a baby, telling it to breathe. The old man then describes the unfortunate working life the baby will have to face. Run, rabbit, run, dig that hole, forget the sun. The song implies that we need to overcome these messages and do what inspires us. Many people believe Dark Side of the Moon acts as a soundtrack to The Wizard of Oz. When they are synced up, the line "balanced on the biggest wave" plays when Dorothy nearly loses her balance while walking along a fence. This is followed on the album by an instrumental called On the Run. The next song is Time, which reprises Breathe. This has been covered by former members of Pearl Jam and Blind Melon. The whispers that can be heard throughout the album are references to Syd Barrett's Madness. Dave Gilmour said this himself when interviewed about Dark Side of the Moon. The pop duo Capital Cities released a cover version of this song online in 2012 and often performed the song at their live shows. Their rendition has a trip-hop feel with the prominent trumpet and sample of Tupac Shakur's verse from the 1997 Surface song Smile. As Sabu Simonian of Capital Cities told us, Pink Floyd is a huge influence on the band. They even mentioned the group in their 2013 track, I Sold My Bed, but Not My Stereo. Okay, next up is Time. I'm probably going to skip this because I have done the Time song facts in my other videos, so if you want to check those out, go to that, please. I will also skip Great Gig in the Sky. I have also done that. Let's do Money. Song is about the bad things money can bring. Ironically, it made Pink Floyd lots of cash as the album sold over 34 million copies. This is often misinterpreted as a tribute to Money. Many people thought the line "money, it's a gas" meant they considered money a very good thing. The song begins in an unusual 7/8 time signature. Then during the guitar solo, the song changes to 4/4, then returns to 7/8 and ends in 4/4 again. When Guitar World, February 1993, asked Dave Gilmour where the famous time signature for Money came from, the Pink Floyd guitarist replied, "It's Roger's riff." Roger came in with the verses and the lyrics for Money more or less completed. And we just made up middle sections, guitar solos, and all that stuff. We also invented some new riffs. We created a 4/4 progression for the guitar solo and made the poor saxophone player play in 7/8. It was my idea to break down and become dry and empty for the second chorus of the solo. Roger Waters is the only songwriter credited on this, but the lead vocal is by Dave Gilmour. Waters provided the basic music and lyrics while the whole band created the instrumental jam of the song. Gilmour was the one overseeing time change and responsible. I think it should be responsible for the acclaimed guitar solo. Rick Wright and Nick Mason. Many studio effects were used on this song. They were using a new 16-track recorder, which allowed them to layer sounds much easier, but complex studio techniques like this still took a long time to do in 1973, as there weren't digital recorders and samplers available like we have today. If you wanted to copy and paste something, you had to do it the hard way, with a razor blade and splicing tape. Oh my goodness. There's quite a few more song facts, but I am going to go on to the next song, I think. Us and Them. Because I have already been doing this for almost 30 minutes. And I don't want this video to go on forever. Us and Them. This began as a piano piece Rick Wright came up with while working on the soundtrack to the 1970 movie Zabriskie Point. It didn't make the soundtrack, but they worked with it at the Dark Side of the Moon sessions, and it eventually became this song. The director of Zabriskie Point, Michelangelo Antonioni, rejected the song for being beautiful but too sad. It makes me think of church. Zabriskie Point was one of the first soundtracks Pink Floyd worked on. They put a lot of work into it, but the director ended up using only 3 of their songs. Floyd also worked on soundtracks for the movies More, The Valley, and Tonight Let's All Make Love in London. The band refereed to this as the violent sequence. Refereed or referred? I think it should be referred to this as the violence sequence, because they worked on it for a very violent scene in the movie. Dave Gilmour sings lead, but this song was written by Roger Waters and Pink Floyd keyboard player Rick Wright. Some of Wright's other songwriting credits include Breathe, Great Gig in the Sky, and One of These Days. But by the late 70s, Waters ended up doing most of the writing himself, and he wrote all the songs on their 1983 album, The Final Cut. Talking about Wright's compositions, Waters said in a 2003 interview with Uncut, he would write odd bits, he secreted them away and put them on these solo albums he made and were never heard. He never shared them. It was unbelievably stupid. I never understood why he did that. I'm sure there were 2 or 3 decent chord sequences. If he'd given them to me, I would have been very, very happy to make something with them. One of Pink Floyd's first uses of a female backup singer. They brought in Liza Strike, Leslie Duncan, and Doris Troy to sing harmonies. Troy had a bit of her own with just one look. I think I'm going to go on to the next song. Any color you like. The title is often attributed to something Henry Ford said about the Model T automobile. You can have it in any color you like as long as it's black. According to the Pink Floyd Encyclopedia, however, the song title is from a catchphrase used by former Pink Floyd road manager Chris Adamson. When asked for a guitar, Adamson would respond, "Any color you like, they're all blue." He may have picked this up from the local street traders in Cambridge. This is an instrumental that is musically similar to Breathe and is unofficially called Breathe's Second Reprise. The song used advanced effects for the time, both in the keyboard and the guitar. The VCS3 synthesizer was fed through a long tape loop created to create rising and falling keyboard solo. David Gilmour used two guitars with the Univibe guitar effect to create the harmonizing guitar solo for the rest of the song. Roger Waters, in an interview with the author Phil Rose, stated, "In Cambridge, where I lived, people would come from London in a van, a truck, open the back, and stand on the tailboard of the truck, and the truck's full of stuff and they're trying to sell. And they have a very quick and slick patter, and they're selling these things like crockery, china, sets of knives and forks, all kinds of different things, and they sell it very cheap with a patter. They tell you what it is, and they say, it's just 10 plates, lady, and it's this, that, and the other, and 8 cups and saucers, and for the lot, I'm asking not 10 pounds, not 5 pounds, not 3 pounds, 50 bob to you." And they get rid of this stuff like this. If they had sets of china and they were all the same color, they would say, "You can have 'em 10 bob to you, love you." Sorry, you can have 'em bob to you, love. Okay, sorry, I lost my spot. "Any color you like, they're all blue." And that was just part of the patter. So metaphorically, any color you like is interesting in the sense because it denotes offering a choice where there is none. And it's also interesting that in the phrase, "any color you like, they're all blue," I don't know why, but in my mind, it's always "they're all blue," which, if you think about it, relates very much to the light and dark, sun and moon, good and evil. You make your choice, but it's always blue. Brain damage. Okay. This is probably about insanity, something the band was quite familiar with. Ex-singer-guitarist Syd Barrett's experiments with hallucinogenics caused his unfortunate fall in the late 60s. Many people consider this and Eclipse one song because they run seamlessly together at the end of the monumental album Dark Side of the Moon. Radio stations usually play them together. The line, "You raise the blade, you make the change," is a reference to frontal lobotomies. The line, "and if the band you're in starts playing different tunes," is a specific reference to Syd Barrett's propensity for playing the wrong song on the stage during his episodes toward his final days with Pink Floyd, which subsequently led to his dismissal. Many people believe that Dark Side of the Moon syncs up with the movie The Wizard of Oz, beginning the record just after the third roar of the MGM lion is displayed. This song plays while the scarecrow sings "If I Only Had a Brain." Huh. Interesting. The lyrics, "The lunatic is on the grass," do not refer to the drug marijuana, but rather actual sod. Roger Waters based the line on the signs that state "stay off the grass," and how he thought anyone who disobeyed the signs were crazy. The line, "got to keep the loonies on the path," supports this, meaning that people must not get off the path and onto the grass. And lastly, Eclipse. The closing track on Pink Floyd's famous Dark Side of the Moon album, this seamlessly follows Brain Damage. To close it out, radio stations almost always played the songs together. The album was well into production, but didn't have an ending until Roger Waters came up with the song. It reprises some lyrics of the opening track, "Breathe," "all that you touch, all that you see," before closing out the album with the words, "There is no dark side of the moon, really. Matter of fact, it's all dark." The closing statement is the voice of Jerry O'Driscoll, often misspelled Jerry with a J instead of a G, who was the doorman at Abbey Road Studios where the album was recorded. His is one of many random voices that show up throughout the album. Rogers recorded people around the studio looking for spontaneous thoughts, and Driscoll, with his sincere delivery and Irish accent, made the finished piece. He can also be heard on the track Great Gig in the Sky, the line that begins, "I'm not frightened of dying." Okay, so that is an Irish accent. That's kind of what I was thinking, because I was like, it's not a British accent for sure. Dave Gilmour recalled to Rolling Stone in 2011, "I remember working hard on making it build and adding harmonies that join in as you go through the song. Because there's nothing to it. There's no chorus. There's no middle eight. There's just a straight list. Every 4 lines will do something different." The working title for Dark Side of the Moon album was Eclipse, a piece for assorted lunatics. They began working on it during rehearsals for their concerts and performed early versions live during shows in 1972. This was an era bands could spend a year refining songs by playing them at concerts before heading into the studio. These days, any such performance would be quickly recorded and distributed. If you put on your headphones, turn down the bass, and listen carefully to the right channel at the end of this song, you can hear what sounds like Ticket to Ride by the Beatles in a Muzak style, while you are still hearing the beating of the heart. No one in the Pink Floyd camp has talked about this as far as we can tell, which gave the many owners of this album yet another talking point. That's interesting. Dave Gilmour told Guitar World February 1993 about Chris Thomas's role on the album. Chris Thomas came in for the mixes, and his role was essentially to stop the arguments between me and Roger about how it should be mixed. I wanted Dark Side to be big and swampy and wet, with reverbs and things like that, and Roger was very keen on it being a very dry album. I think he was influenced a lot by John Lennon's first solo album, Plastic Ono Band, which was very dry. We argued so much that it was suggested we get a third opinion. We were going to leave Chris to mix it on his own with Alan Parsons engineering, and of course on the first day I found out that Roger sneaked in there. So the second day I sneaked in there, and from then on we both sat right at Chris's shoulder, interfering, but luckily Chris was more sympathetic to my point of view than he was to Roger's. The heartbeat on this song brings Dark Side of the Moon full circle, closing the album the same way it opens, with the heartbeat heard on the opening track, Speak to Me. The heartbeat is actually a kick drum processed to sound like a pulse. Wow. What a good album. I really enjoyed reacting to it, listening to it again, looking into the lyrics and some of the stories behind the songs a little bit more. But I am going to stop now because I've been talking for almost 40 minutes and my voice is hoarse. So I will see you guys soon. Erin out. Talk to you guys later.